Question. Order. Question number 5, Scott Simpson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Transport and asks, what recent announcements has he made regarding the government's commitment to improving the road link between Auckland, Coromandel and the Western Bay of Plenty?
The Honourable Simon Bridges.
It was my pleasure to announce, alongside the MP for Coromandel, that the government is investing $278 million to upgrade State Highway 2 between Pokeno and the State Highway 25 intersection near Mangatarata. This 32-kilometre section of road is the main connection between Auckland and the Coromandel. It is a popular holiday route and supports strong tourism movements in the region, but has long been a source of frustration for motorists. That's why the government is stepping in and widening the road with 2 lanes along the route for traffic heading towards Auckland. Work will get underway this year on the design, consents and property purchase, with construction set to start within the next 2 years. I thank Scott Simpson for his representations on this road.
Order. Supplementary question, Scott Simpson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. A supplementary to the Minister. How will the upgraded roading link on State Highway 2 between Auckland and the beautiful Coromandel improve the journey for motorists?
The Honourable Simon Bridges.
Mr Speaker, this popular holiday route is a notorious black spot. The series of improvements announced by the government will make dramatic safety improvements, with the long-term goal being to reduce death and serious injury crashes by 80% over 20 years. At the same time, though, the new road will allow the speed limit to be safely increased from 90 to 100 kilometres per hour. All up, motorists can expect a safer, more reliable and quicker drive, particularly for people travelling north after a weekend on the Coromandel.
Supplementary question, Todd Miller.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question asks, what other announcements has he made recently that improve road safety, particularly in the Western Bay of Plenty?
The Honourable Simon Bridges.
Well, Mr Speaker, it's my pleasure to announce recently, alongside MPs Todd Muller and Scott Simpson, a $520 million roading package that will transform State Highway 22 between Tauranga and Waihi. The package includes the long-awaited $286 million Tauranga Northern Link, which will connect Tauranga to the west of Te Puna, and to support expected strong future growth in Tauranga and the wider Western Bay of Plenty. Further $150 million has been earmarked in the package for a future extension of the link road extending out to Omokoroa. Finally, Mr Speaker, the stretch of road between Tauranga and Waihi is overrepresented.
Order. Minister will resume his seat immediately. I will determine the length of answers, no one else, but if the interjections continue from particularly my left-hand corner, then I'll also be determining how long a particular member stays in the chamber. Would the Minister complete his answer?
Mr Speaker, finally, this stretch of road between Tauranga and Waihi is overrepresented in fatalities, so a further $85 million will be spent on a wide range of safety improvements along the road that will reduce death and serious injury crashes. I appreciate the opposition hates this much good news from the government.
Order. Supplementary question, Marama Fox.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister, when can residents of the East Coast expect to receive announcements to improve the road links of Te Tai Rāwhiti, such as State Highway 35?
Order. The Honourable Simon Bridges.
Well, Mr Speaker, I thank the member for her vigorous representations in this regard. There's been some very good work on the East Coast on State Highway 35, passing lanes that I've seen with the member, also Motu Bridge coming later this year, and I think also Antoli. We're in good discussions with the Council as Regional Economic Development Ministers, Minister Joyce and I and others, around issues such as State Highway 35 and State Highway 2, and I hope that we will be able to make good progress on those roads over time.
Supplementary question, Order. Supplementary question, Madam Fox.
Given the minister's enthusiasm to improve the links around the East Coast region, can we expect the minister to consider funding rail links to ease pressure on the roads from the Gisborne-Napier rail area? Thank you.
The Honourable Simon Bridges.
Oh, well, Mr Speaker, as the member well says, I am an enthusiast. And I can say that, I very much back the transport connections around the East Coast. In relation to rail, I think, it is primarily a commercial, it is in fact entirely a commercial matter between the parties. There's talks going on at the moment, and let's see where they go.
Point of order, the Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, I seek leave to correct an answer I made earlier.
Leave is sought for that particular purpose. Is there any objection? There is none. The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. In answer to the member's question, I inadvertently mentioned the figure of 100,000 children that the benefit changes were addressed at. I should have said 100,000 families.
I thank the member. I thank the minister. Question number 6, Phil Twyford.